I was saying thank you for your time, first of all. And I was asking, what does it mean for you to kind of kickstart this new tradition at Penn State and wear that number 0?
Yeah, I mean it's a blessing, it's an honor. There was definitely many guys that were qualified on the team for it, and I just appreciate all the support and my teammates ultimately choosing me. So it's a great honor, and I'm really appreciative of it.
Go ahead, Rich.
Jonathan, thanks for your time. Does the fact that your teammates voted on this, and the fact that from everyone we've talked to said there was nobody else, that you were the most logical choice, what does that especially mean to you, that these guys thought that much or think that much of you?
Yeah, I mean it's a blessing. I love my teammates. I try to work every single day and do the best and just be obviously a support for them, and they likewise do the same for me. So just obviously hearing that, and it's just a great honor, just to be looked up to like that by my teammates. So
Mark Brennan, go ahead.
Jonathan, Coach Franklin said several players lobbied for the number. Were you one of them? And can you take us through how they told you you were getting the number? Because I have to imagine that was probably a pretty cool situation for you.
yeah, honestly, it was just like literally after practice this past Saturday. It was kind of like a surprise, almost like I didn't really. It was a surprise to me. So they presented it at the end of practice. So they kind of got us all pretty much surprised because we didn't know when they were announcing it or whatnot.
Donnie Collins, go ahead.
Jonathan, Coach made a big deal about having the 2 captains from Canada, from Ottawa. What does that mean to you to come from there where football isn't as big a sport traditionally as it is here, to become a captain at Penn State?
Yeah, obviously, it's a big deal, especially for Jesse and I. We come from a small city in Canada, and we just try to give the most motivation, to players back home. Obviously, that if you, continue with hard work and just continue to pursue your goals, that you can really achieve anything. So obviously, it's a great blessing coming from where Jesse and I came from.
Greg Pickle.
Jonathan, you had said, first of all, good morning. Thanks for your time. You had said that some other guys were also qualified to wear number 0. I think most of us, and I'm assuming your teammates too, probably assumed as soon as we heard that number 0 was going to go to a key special teamer that it would be you that earned it. But who were some of the other guys that we should watch on those special teams unit that maybe could have been in that conversation as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say Drew Hartlob. He's a starter on all 4 special teams, and he plays his role really well. Isaac Lutz as well, another great special teamer, Jordan Stout. So there was a decent amount of guys that were qualified, in my opinion, at least, for sure.
Tyler Donahue.
Jonathan, we saw Jair Brown crack that 2 deep. Just got to campus a few months ago. What did he show you guys, showed Coach Banks on the practice field? And after seeing Jaquan Brisker go through that process of Lackawanna College to Penn State last year and seeing that over again with Jair, what do those guys seem to be, coming to campus with in their tool belt after 2 years at Lackawanna?
Yeah, I would just say their openness to learn, and obviously, their work ethic. They both come in every day ready to work, and they take no days off. So I'll definitely say that.
Mark Wogenrich.
Hey, Jonathan, what does the Penn State United messaging campaign and logo mean to you, and how do the captains and the leadership council come up with that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of designs that were created, and by the end of it, we ended up choosing that one. We just thought it was just the best one, and obviously, it's supposed to be there to represent unity and obviously coming together, obviously in the midst of everything that's going on right now in this country. So, yeah, that's how we kind of figured it out.
Tobias Wilborn.
Hey, Jonathan, man, thanks for doing this as always, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Dan.
Thank you.
Man, yeah, we're welcome, brother. Have you thought about what that first time actually tackling an opponent, whether it be on special teams or in the defense, have you thought about what that would feel like, and how does that make you feel just kind of going through that process? I see the smile coming up.
Yeah, I think about it every day. Obviously, we've been practicing for months now against each other. So obviously when we get to go against an opponent in the opposite, uniform, that's going to be great. So obviously it's coming up fast. We're on the clock this Saturday, so it's real exciting.
Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Jonathan. How would you describe your leadership style, and what are your feelings about being named a captain for the second straight year?
Yeah, obviously being selected captain for the second year it's just an honor, a blessing. It's very humbling to me, and I appreciate that so much from my coaches and my teammates. And if I were to describe my leadership style, I would just say I try to lead by example. Obviously, in the way I approach everything on and off the field, I try to lead through example.
Paul Gable.
Hey, Jonathan, thanks for the time. Talk to me a little bit about how IU looks to you on film. Coach Franklin yesterday mentioned that this was probably one of the better Indiana teams that you guys have faced. I know you especially have played well against them. Go back to the forced fumble in 2018 on the punt return, and then last year. And also, what does Michael Penix show you in the clips that you've been able to see of him at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, Indiana, they're a great team. They're solid on both offense, defense, and special teams, and they're returning a decent amount of guys. As far as Penix, he was injured last year, so obviously we don't have as much film on him, but the film that we do have, he shows that he can throw the ball and he can also run when he wants to, so it'll be a good game.
Donnie Collins.
Jonathan, I know I've been to Ottawa a couple of times. I know it's a big hockey town. How do you get into football as a kid up there? Who introduces you to it? And what was it like? What was the youth football scene like there?
Yeah, so it was honestly just a bunch of my friends at school that were playing football, and that's how I kind of got introduced to it, playing on the playground and then transitioning to Pop Warner. But, I mean, it works pretty similarly than like how it does here. I mean, you start pretty much at the age of 6, and then each level keeps on going up. So,
Rich Garcella.
Jonathan, you mentioned Isaac Lutz, who is from my area, who I've covered. How would you describe him on and off the field? How valuable is he on special teams?
no, he's extremely valuable. He has a key role in it. And if I were to describe Isaac, he has great work ethic. He comes in every day to practice, ready to work, ready to get himself better. And he's a competitor. Yeah, that's what I would say about Isaac. He has great work ethic for sure.
Tyler Donahue.
You got a new starter in that defensive backfield, that cornerback with Joey Porter Jr. He redshirted last year, so we don't have a lot of eyeballs on him to this point. What did he do on the field during these last couple months that you think put him in a position to be the first teamer at cornerback opposite of Tariq?
Yeah, I mean, Joey's a guy who comes into work. He's ready to learn. He's ready to compete, and obviously he's been making a lot of plays. So, he's been doing really well throughout these practices, and he's a great guy with a great work ethic.
Mark Brennan.
Jonathan, another guy we haven't really seen is Parker Washington, but we did see him pop up on that first team. What can you tell us about him? What have you seen from him in a preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with Parker. He's from what I've seen, showed up every day to work. Obviously, competes, and he's just been making plays. So, big ups to Parker for sure. He's been doing his thing.
Joe Giuliano.
Jonathan, you've been a teammate of Shaka Toney now for quite a while. What makes him special, and how do you feel about him being named a captain this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the leaders on our defense. You know, he's a guy that a lot of people look up to. He's a great football player, also a great vocal leader. You know, he does his thing, and obviously it's an honor to be led by someone like Shock. So,
Donnie Collins.
Jonathan, how have you seen Brisker take a couple of steps forward this year, and also on Jair you mentioned earlier, but how is he in special teams?
You said what about special teams, sorry?
Oh, how has Jair embraced special teams his first year?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Jair's he's been embracing his role. He's just been working and coming to get better every single day. And Brisker's obviously been making a lot of plays, had a great off season, and it's really showing out right now.
Greg Bickle.
Jonathan, what changes about the way you prepare for a team when all the film you have to work on is from last year and they have some new coaches on offense and a couple of new guys as well? How does that change the way you prepare? And what will you have to do on game day to maybe adjust to some of the things that you can't possibly have known about with no spring practice, no summer camp, none of that kind of stuff going on?
Yeah, so as far as our preparation never really changes at all. No matter who we're playing or what week it is, we prepare for every single team like we would any other. Obviously, with the new OC coming in, they had a great year on offense last year, so we don't expect them to do too many changes. They had a great year on offense, so yeah, we're just preparing like we would any other game.
David Eckert.
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. Is there anything else outside of, maybe not having as much film on Indiana as you might during a normal season? Is there anything else that's different about jumping right into conference play without those 3 non-conference games before it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, obviously it's an odd year. We're starting the season like in October, close to November. But besides that, I mean, it wouldn't matter if we were playing San Jose State. We still approach the game, each game the same. So I mean, besides the timing, it's the same to us.
Barth.
Yeah, Jonathan, you and Lamont Wade, obviously came to campus at the same time. How have you kind of seen him mature and develop both on and off the football field?
Yeah, I mean, Lamont's taken like great strides, obviously, in his time here, and has matured a lot, obviously, and has gotten better in his craft, and just like most of us all have. But yeah, Lamont's really been he's been really showing his development, his growth since he's been here for sure.
Tyler Donahue.
Jonathan, getting back to those roots a little bit up in Ottawa, in general, when you go back home to Ontario, really wherever you go, is Penn State viewed differently? How can you compare it to maybe how they were viewed when you were coming up, and if they were even on the radar much versus now when you have 2 team captains and continue to get top recruits out of the country of Canada? How would you say maybe that narrative has shifted?
Yeah, I would say obviously it's brought a lot of light to Penn State. Obviously, Penn State's pretty much known like globally. So people weren't strangers to Penn State, but definitely Jesse and I, and obviously with Christian, a quarterback who's committed here coming in next January, has brought a lot more light to the program and everything like that. So.
Connor Krause.
Hey, Jonathan, how would you compare the leadership in the safety room for this year with yourself, Lamont, and Jaquan in comparison to when you were younger under guys like Nick Scott and Garrett Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly, like, in our safeties room, we have a standard, obviously, and that doesn't change no matter who's in the room, obviously. So as far as how the older guys and our leaders go about our business, it pretty much mimics each other. It's pretty much the same thing because we have a high standard in the room that has to be kept. So.